Let's get back to our spotlight on some high school baseball in the Mahoning Valley. Joining me on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline is the head baseball coach of the Ursuline Irish, Matt Weymer. Coach, how are you today, sir?
I'm good, sir. How are you?
I'm doing well. Typical northeastern Ohio weather. Yesterday, Mother Nature for the win with the April Fool's Day joke, and today with temperatures in the 30s and low 40s. Really inclement weather for baseball, but we have had a few days where it's been absolutely beautiful for baseball. How often have you guys been able to get on the field, and how many games have you played thus far, Skip?
So we've been able to get outside more this year than this is my 11th year coaching high school baseball, and I played 3 scrimmages this year, and I don't think I've had 3 scrimmages combined in the other 10 years of playing high school baseball. So I always joke about global warming. I'm like, I know it's supposed to not be good for the planet, but for Northeast Ohio, boy, it's been great. The last couple of springs have been real mild. We've been able to get outside a bunch, and we played Howland the first game on the 27th of March, and usually the first couple of weeks of high school baseball, because no one's been outside, they're really pitchers duel, low-scoring game, and Howland came out and really swung the bats well, and we've seen a lot of that since, even with our own kids, and just being able to get outside makes such a huge difference in the early part of the year in terms of the quality of play. We're not seeing fly balls for the first time or live pitching outside for the first time. Everyone's kind of accustomed to it. So, yeah, Mother Nature played a little trick on us yesterday, but we've already played 4 games, which is great for this time of year. Obviously, we're only 1 off the pace. So we've been very fortunate. Hopefully it continues.
Matt Weymer, the head baseball coach of the Ursuline Irish, joining me on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. I got to imagine that it's probably a blessing in disguise that we've had an opportunity to have scrimmages and a lot of scrimmages this year due to some very nice weather the last 2 days notwithstanding. And I say this because some of your kids, not all of them, but some of your kids, you didn't get a full year of baseball. I would assume most of the kids played summer baseball in some sort of fashion, but we haven't had high school baseball in a couple of years, so a really nice start weather-wise was probably what the doctor ordered for these kids to get a little bit of experience, albeit in some scrimmages, before we get the season going.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know every program has a different COVID story, about how the year off kind of impacted them, whether it was, we didn't get a chance to rebuild and gear up for this year, or we didn't get a chance to, say goodbye to our senior class who we were really hoping to carry us. Or, I think about Coach Chaney down at South Range. They had a really deep team last year, a team that had already won a state championship, and you only get those kids for that small window, and you lose a window to compete for a state championship like that. Like for us, we had 8 seniors. 4 of those guys had played 4 years of varsity baseball. Their win total had improved every year. And so not to get them to the finish line the right way, not to see all their hard work pay off. It took a lot of lumps when they were young. But we went from, 8 wins to 10 wins to 12 wins, and we were hoping to make a big jump up there and kind of challenge South Range in the district. And not to have them get that last payoff really hurt. And then, like you said, the part that always goes unnoticed is the stuff behind the scenes. You don't get to watch kids play JV or see them practice for a whole year. So when you lose 8 seniors like we did, you go into a season kind of thinking, all right, well, we're losing our shortstop, but we like, Timmy and Tommy down at the JV, and they can kind of slug it out and see who's going to be the shortstop. But without having a year of baseball, we didn't get any of that. So, went down to the theme park, saw a lot of our guys play in the summer. You try to formulate some ideas there, and then you go into the off-season workouts, and you formulate some more ideas there. But until you actually get onto the field and see who's going to fit where, and we still have guys moving around. You just don't know. And so losing 2020 not only hurts like a senior-wise, but you lose a whole year of kind of gauging what your team's going to look like in the future.
For the freshmen and sophomores, though, this And I don't ever want to say that 2020, the loss of baseball in 2020, was a good thing. It wasn't. But for the freshmen and sophomores, this is an opportunity for them to basically be on the same plane as everyone else, and then have an opportunity to show their stuff in hopes of playing varsity baseball this year.
Sure, absolutely. And we've always been, I shouldn't say wherever I've coached, we've always pushed for young kids. I've always believed in playing the best 9 guys, freshman to sophomore. And it seems, I know when I was at Springfield, we had a young group of kids that got to play right away. And I just mentioned those seniors that were going to graduate last year. 4 of those guys played as freshmen. And we obviously know what kind of a talent Brady Shannon is. He played as a freshman. And we were set to have a couple freshmen play for us last year, Luca Rasciuti and Drew Carrillo on the mound. And now we have a couple freshmen playing for us this year with Jack Erickson and CJ Frasco. So, it does help them in a terms because they're coming in kind of after the lost season and everything. But, you only get those seniors that one time around, like I mentioned. So what I've found out, especially playing the schedule that we like to play, like on tomorrow, we're going up to Walsh Jesuit, who routinely has one of the best teams in the state in terms of talent. And Coach Kazmer has a great program, and you go up there with a bunch of 15-year-olds. It's really hard to win up there when you're so young. So it is nice that they're kind of coming in on an equal plane, but at the same time, you never want to throw away a year of development for anybody.
Matt Weymer, the head baseball coach of the Ursuline Irish, joining me on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. So, what has the numbers been like for you this year in terms of kids going out for baseball?
It's been really good. I think we had 29, 30 kids come out, which is about where we're at. We've never had a freshman team. It's just the problem with freshman baseball is we don't have a lot of teams locally that have freshman baseball. So if you're going to play a freshman schedule, you're going to be making a lot of trips over to Akron, Canton, Cleveland. And that can get really time-consuming for everybody involved. It's you have to find another coach. It's another set of uniforms. It's just a real hassle. So we've never added it, and so it's been nice to be able to field 2 teams pretty consistently. We haven't really had to worry about that. I know we were over in Massillon Jackson earlier this spring, and I was talking to their head coach, and he told me that they had 85 kids out for baseball. And he has a varsity A, a varsity B, a JV A, a JV B, and a freshman team in it, and they cut 20 kids. So, it's a little bit down maybe here. I know I've heard some other schools have been struggling to get kids out. We've been pretty consistent. I'm pretty fortunate to have that at Ursuline in terms of our numbers. But baseball seems to be booming in other parts of the state, that's for sure.
No question about that. Coach, let's talk about your coaching staff and the guys behind the scenes helping you out and in this 2021 campaign.
Sure. So Mark Yakubovic, who he was on Bob Beam's staff at Springfield and at Boardman, and I've known Bob Beam for a long time, and so when he stepped away from coaching, I kind of inherited. We call him Yak, so I kind of got Coach Yak through Coach Beam, and he does our base running and coaches third base for us. Really lucky to have Rob Armini. Rob's a PT, so he brings a lot of expertise when it comes to our strength and conditioning, weightlifting. Kids get hurt or injured, he's able to kind of check them out right there and kind of diagnose what they need to do in the immediate future, which has been a big blessing. He does a lot of stuff with our hitting as well. And then the other guy at the varsity level is Logan Poland, who was on my first team at Ursuline. My first year at Ursuline, he was a senior. So he graduated. He came back a couple years ago, coached 1 year, and then kind of life got in the way. But now he's back for his second tour of duty. And it's always nice to have young guys who are interested in coaching. They always have a great way of relating with the kids. So that's the varsity staff. And then Paul Kemp, who obviously is known as a football coach, but he's been on my JV staff every year I've been at Ursuline. He teaches at the school. Again, just a guy who really knows how to relate to high school athletes. And this year we also welcomed Brian Frasco to the JV staff. Mentioned his son earlier. He actually has 2 kids in our program. He coaches on the football staff. He went to Ursuline. He's in the Hall of Fame. Just a really experienced mind when it comes to baseball. He's coached a lot. And, again, having somebody who coaches multiple sports, he knows the kids on a more personal level, and that's really important when it comes to teaching the game.
Well, I had an opportunity to see your kids, your JV kids, play Western Reserve a few nights ago at Scene Park, and you got some talent, Coach. You certainly have some talent on that JV team.
Yeah, we're very excited about the future. We have a really big sophomore class. I think we have 12 sophomores in the program. So it's a blessing and a curse. When you have a big class like that, you have a hard time finding room for all of them at the same time. But you're excited that you have that many options. Again, when those kids grow in the next couple of years and they become seniors, you really like your chances, going to war with a bunch of guys who have played baseball together for 4 years. That really makes things interesting for you and for your opponents. I mean, just having all that experience at one time, that should really pay off for us in a couple of years.
Matt Weymer, the head baseball coach of the Ursuline Irish, joining me on the MPVivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. The same thing with Springfield. We had Coach Dobson on just before you called in, and I can say the same thing about Ursuline as I did about Springfield. One of the reasons why Springfield and Ursuline year in, year out play solid baseball, the competition that you guys challenge your kids with. You made mention tomorrow you'll make a trip to Walsh Jesuit to take on one of the best teams in the entire state, let alone northeastern Ohio. Give everyone a taste of your non-conference schedule, Coach.
Well, the thing about being at Ursuline is we do play with the Steel Valley Conference coming back, so we will play Chaney and East one time, and we'll play Mooney twice, but you get a 27-game schedule. So the beauty about being at Ursuline is you don't have this massive, in-depth conference schedule. And when I was at Springfield, we just like Coach Dobson does, we do go out, we try to challenge ourselves as much as we can. But in the end, more than half of your schedule is tied down by league games that you have to play. At Ursuline, we don't have that. So when we sit down and get a schedule, it's a blank slate for us. So I'm able to call around the state, try to really get our kids not only to see better teams, but better facilities. You really want to impress upon your kids, it's so often sometimes you get jaded because you play these teams and you look around and they might not be that good or their facilities might be run down, but you always want to make sure that your kids understand that there are places where baseball is really doing well. So, we'll go to Walsh. We played St. Ed's already, who's always one of the premier teams in the area up in Cleveland. We have Akron, St. Vincent, St. Mary. We got rained out the other night with Massillon, Washington, who always has a great program. Oh boy, I don't know why I'm blanking here, but usually we take a trip. COVID's going to ruin that for the second straight year, but we'll take the kids out of town, go down to Cincinnati or Columbus. Or this year we're supposed to go over to Minster, which is a little bit north of Dayton. They have one of the great small school programs in the state. They've won 3 straight championships in the last 7 years. So you have an opportunity to play this great schedule and just expose your kids to so many different things, which is all part of the beauty of the Ursuline schedule. I don't have to cancel games because I have to make up a league game. We kind of get to play the whole slate out there.
All right, Coach, before we let you go, and we're speaking with Matt Weymer, the head baseball coach of the Ursuline Irish, give some love to that senior class. The kids are going to wind up only playing 3 years of high school baseball, but give some love to that senior class of yours.
Yes, we have 4 seniors, and much like the 8 we lost last year, they have played baseball for all 4 years, which, as a coach, you always think you're going to lose kids as time drags on, but we've been very fortunate to not only have numbers in our program, but those numbers have stayed. The kids have stayed for years. They've sacrificed. They've been very selfless in terms of what we've asked them to do and the jobs we've asked them to do and the roles we've asked them to play. So we have Dante Walker, who will be a 4-year letter winner when it's all said and done. He plays right field for us. Tremendous football player. I'm sure if you're a football fan in the area, you know the name. Just a really physical kid, really gifted athlete. I know he's still looking, but he'll be playing college football at a campus near you sometime next fall, I'm sure. Jonah Kirshner, who, again, I think he'll be a 3-year guy for us letter-wise. He's our ace of the staff. He's the one that makes our team tick. A tremendous leader. it's kind of an awkward leadership style, but I couldn't be more impressed with the results. He's just he's a beautiful mind, I guess you would say. He just does a great job of getting everybody on the same page, and he gives us a chance to win every time he takes the ball. We have Peplowski, who plays some outfield for us. He's coming off of an injury, so his season's been a little slow getting started. He hasn't gotten really to ramp up to full speed yet. And Ian Barton's our last one. Ian plays third base for us, bats in our cleanup spot right now. Again, just great kid, steady performer. And, you know, our senior class is just very, very good. They're very, very solid baseball players. They get along. They lead our team. They just really have been everything I could and more. It's been the first year at Ursuline where, you know, I think we just have a really, really solid culture. And I've always been a big believer that doesn't come from the top. That comes from the kids. You got to want to be around each other, and our kids do, and I give those 4 seniors all the credit for that.
Coach, always a pleasure speaking with you. Good luck in this 2021 campaign, and hopefully when the weather breaks beginning tomorrow, we'll be able to have a string of consecutive baseball games thrown in there, and good luck this year. I know Ursuline in Division III, you'll be part of that crazy tournament. It'll be an awful lot of fun to watch you guys play this year.
I really appreciate it, and thanks to all you guys at YSN. I know you guys have really done a great job since this whole thing started with DJ and the coverage for our kids. And as always, if you guys ever need anything, we're all here for you.
Appreciate it, sir.
Thank you.
You got it. Matt Weymer, he is the head baseball coach of the Ursuline Irish.